What if I were to tell you that there is this one specific human quality that if we were able to tap into it, we would actually be tapping into states where our brain waves are akin to those of yogis and monks who have meditated for years on end. So in this particular video, I shall be discussing this special human quality which we all possess, that I will teach you how to tap into it and transform your life from the inside out. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. So what I'm actually referring to is this quality which we all possess, which is that of forgiveness. And for the sake of this video, I shall be discussing a specific kind of forgiveness, which is self-forgiveness. And once we tap into this particular human quality and we exercise it and we forgive others around us and then we forgive ourselves, I will show you how the act of forgiving others and forgiving ourselves can actually transform our lives from the inside out. So at its core, forgiveness is the act of releasing your anger or your resentment or your pain which you have around a specific person, an event, or an experience. When we make a conscious decision to release this pain, we are exercising forgiveness. This is the one human quality which allows us to tap into brain waves, which yogis and monks tap into after years of meditation. So if we were to exercise forgiveness, what it actually does is it allows us to step into our new versions 2.0. And in this particular video, I would like to discuss the value of self-forgiveness. What exactly is self-forgiveness? So forgiveness is not just about releasing the pain and the resentment and the anger which we have for other people or an experience or an event. It is equally applied to ourselves as well. And we have to learn to forgive ourselves for the stories and the narratives that we are holding on to. They may be from past events or people who we believe have hurt us, or they could be past experiences. I'm not telling you to let go of the pain. The pain is there, and you may tell me that the pain exists and your pain is real. And yes, I hear you. Your pain is real. However, the narratives which are causing that pain and that anger and resentment, they may or may not be real. These are the narratives which we have created. They are either about a specific person or about a specific event, or they're about a specific experience which we have had in the past. And when we hold on to these experiences and these events, what we are actually holding on to is the narrative that we have created about these people, events, or experiences. And if we don't let them go by forgiving ourselves, what we are essentially doing is we are being held back. These events and experiences are holding us back. They're holding us back from living the life of our dreams and moving forward. They have happened in the past and they should be buried in the past, because it's the narrative which we have created about these events. It could be from something as long ago as your childhood, but you're still holding on to it. It is spilling into your adult life, and it is holding you back from reaching your true and highest potential. If you do not forgive yourself, and if you do not allow yourself to move forward, and the permission only comes once you have decided to forgive yourself. And it is a simple conscious decision that you need to tell yourself that I will not let my past, and I shall not let the past events or an experience or the person who hurt me in the past, I shall not let them hold me back from creating the life which I have always intended for myself. You may not know it, but if you're holding on to past grudges, and if you're holding on to your past anger and resentment about a specific person who's hurt you, an event or an experience, then that is actually holding you back. It is like extra baggage that you have. You are not a free person. You are being held back into your past only because you have decided to hold on to the pain and the anger and the resentment. And the reason that we are all holding on to these narratives and to these stories of pain, anger, and resentment or failure or regret, the main reason is that it's familiar. It is easy for us to hold on to them. That is what we know. If we hold on to them and we feel the pain, that's what we've done all our lives after all, right? And that is the reason they are with us to this day, because we don't want to take the risk. We are risk averse. We don't know what lies on the other side of fear. We fear the unknown. So it is easier for us to hold on to the past and the past stories and narratives. And we tell ourselves that so hurt us in this specific way and said this to us, and that sort of really made us angry. But you see, when you do that, you are giving your power away either to that person who said something to you, or your experience, or the event which happened in the past. You're holding on to that sorrow which is holding you back only because it is familiar. You see what I'm getting at? If we were to let go of that baggage, which is the weight which is pulling us back into our past, if we were to let go of it and we were to forgive ourselves and we gave ourselves permission to move on without the baggage of the past, without the narratives that we have created about the past, then we shall indeed be floating through the next part of our lives because we have let go. Although we don't know what the future holds for us, but that is where our faith should step in. We should have faith in ourselves, and we should have faith in the higher power that we believe in. Because when we have faith, the universe meets us halfway because we took the risk, because we buried our past in the past, and because we forgave ourselves for the narratives that we had created about our past. Then we are able to sail through the future. And at that point, we actually have the opportunity to craft the future of our dreams because we are not being held back by the baggage of the past any longer. Most of the time, the narratives which we have, which are essentially the memories which we have about our past events, and these are memories of guilt or shame or regret or failure, they are not even true. These are the narratives which we have crafted about certain events or people or experiences which we have had in the past. And we have intentionally decided to hold on to them. And once we decide to hold on to our past and past events, then what happens is that we are being blocked by our own mind from experiencing our full potential and creating the future which we have always intended. So if you ever feel that you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and you're stuck in the same position for years on end, you need to take a step back and you need to understand that it may be because you have not forgiven yourself. It may be that you have not forgiven yourself about a specific situation which you handled in the past, or you have not forgiven yourself for something which happened in your childhood. And that is the reason that you're not able to move forward. Because once we decide to forgive ourselves, we have released the pain, the anger, and the resentment which was holding us back. And it's gone. And we have the chance that we are able to experience the life which we intended to live. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to forgive yourself? Because forgiveness is absolutely essential. When we decide to forgive ourselves, we are actually giving ourselves permission to create the future of our dreams. And once we understand that we have given ourselves permission, And that is the first step into stepping into our new versions 2.0. So the journey actually begins when we understand that the past has to be left in the past. It cannot be brought with us into our present, and it can definitely not accompany us in our future. So once we understand that the only way we can leave our past in the past is when we forgive others and we forgive ourselves. Forgiving ourselves is as important as forgiving others around us, because you could forgive others around you, but when it comes to yourself, you're not able to forgive yourself because you could feel that you've held on to the past too long and it's now too late to change anything. But that's not true. The second you forgive yourself, you have allowed yourself to experience an entirely new you. And the decision has to come from within. You need to decide to forgive yourself, because forgiveness equals freedom. And the reason for that is that when we forgive ourselves, we allow ourselves to step into a newer version of ourselves. We are not holding on to the baggage of the past anymore. We are not the same person anymore. You have actually allowed yourself to embark on this journey of transformation without judgment. That is the point, that you also accept yourself wholeheartedly. Forgiving yourself means that you are accepting yourself wholeheartedly. You are forgiving yourself for the person that you were in the past, because now you're not that person anymore. You do not wish to hold the grudges and the anger and the pain, because you understand that that is holding you back. And forgiving yourself is opening this whole world for you, where you are able to step into a newer version 2.0 of yourself that you can craft very, very carefully, because that is the version that you are presenting to the mirror of reality. And that is the version that is going to be reflected in your 3D reality. So if you were to hold on to the past and the narratives about the past, which are just mere memories in your brain, then you're not able to experience a future, because the self-image that you are presenting to the mirror of reality has not changed. And if your self-image remains the same, you shall be experiencing the same 3D reality. The only way your 3D can shift around you is when you present it with a different self-image. And the different self-image is the one you craft when you decide to forgive yourself. And when you decide to let go of the anger and the resentment and the feelings of regret and failure, they could be pertaining to a person, an event, or an experience, but you decide to let them go. And once you do that, that is when you have presented a different self-image. This self-image is free, is a free person, doesn't have any baggage on them. It's a newly crafted self-image. It's the new you. And this is the image which is now being presented to the mirror of reality. So you shall experience an entirely different reality, because you are a new person. And the reason that you are a new person is because you made the conscious decision to let go, because you made the conscious decision to forgive yourself. And as a result of that, you are now a new person. You're not being held back by the baggage of the past, which has been holding you back and pulling you back into the past for all these years. And once you understand and realize that it was as simple as forgiving yourself about the narratives which you created and forgiving yourself about holding on to the past for so long, that is when you have stepped into your version 2.0. So it is essential that we understand that self-forgiveness is an essential and a very integral part of the journey of transformation. It is imperative that we are able to forgive others around us, and we are able to forgive ourselves as well. It is equally, if not more important, to forgive yourself. Self-forgiveness comes before forgiving others. You have to forgive yourself, and only then you can embark on this journey of transformation. So now let me give you a 4-step process via which you can actually forgive yourself and you can release the pain. The number one thing that you need to do is that you need to acknowledge that there is pain and shame and guilt around your past and around the narratives which you have created, either about a past event, a person, or a past experience. So you need to acknowledge, because the pain and the feelings that you're experiencing are real. Your narratives may or may not be 100% accurate. However, the pain and the anger and the sorrow that you are feeling is real. That is yours. You own it. So you need to acknowledge it. That is the first step. You need to acknowledge your feelings of pain, sorrow, guilt, shame, fear, whatever it is, you need to acknowledge them. The second step is you need to accept these feelings. There is no point in resisting these feelings. And I mean that, you cannot run away from these feelings. If you are feeling sad and if you're feeling angry, you need to let yourself feel the pain. If you have to cry and shed some tears, that's all right. You need to experience the pain. Allow yourself to experience that pain. Accept the pain. Do not resist it. When you resist, it persists. So it's very important that you let your feelings run their course, whatever they may be. Pain, sorrow, sadness, guilt, shame. Experience them. Allow yourself to experience the pain. And once you have internalized these feelings, you should let them come out. You should let them run their course. The third step is you need to detach yourself from these feelings, because you are not your feelings. They are your feelings. If you are feeling angry, that is a feeling of anger which you are experiencing. You need to take a step back and detach yourself from these feelings. If I am feeling sad, that is not me. I am not a sad person. I am feeling sad and I'm experiencing the feeling of being sad. However, I am not a sad person, and you need to understand that. Detaching yourself from the feelings, you are yourself. I am Asma and I am feeling sad. I've taken a step back, take a deep breath and exhale. You are yourself. I am myself. However, I am either experiencing pain or sorrow or sadness or anger, but those are my feelings. They are not me. So taking a step back and detaching yourself from your feelings gives you time to observe those feelings. You're able to tell yourself that, okay, I am not a sad person. I am not an angry person. And I'm not ashamed of myself. However, I am experiencing the feelings of sadness, anger, shame, and guilt. So once you detach yourself from them, you become another person, and those become your feelings. So once you have detached yourself, the fourth step is you become the observer of the feelings. I'm Asma. I'm a happy person. I'm an accomplished person, and I'm confident and worthy. However, I do experience feelings of anger, pain, shame, and guilt from time to time. But I'm not them. I am not my feelings. I am Asma. So you are yourself, and your feelings are not you. They are your feelings, and you should be able to observe them from a distance, because once you're able to take a step back and observe your feelings from a distance, that is when they dissipate. Now, before I click off, let's do a quick recap. This particular video was about the power of forgiveness, and not just forgiving others around us, it was also about forgiving ourselves, that it is equally, if not more important, to begin this journey of transformation by self-forgiveness. Now, forgiveness in itself is simply a conscious decision to release the feelings of pain, anger, shame, or guilt, which we may have about a certain person or an event or an experience. So we need to be able to release these feelings. And once we are able to release these feelings, that is what we call forgiveness. We can either forgive others around us, but it is equally important to forgive yourself. Because when we forgive ourselves, we have actually released ourselves from the baggage of the past, which is holding us back. Because I discussed that it is not the actual experiences which are causing the hurt and the pain and the sorrow. It is the narratives which we have created about these experiences which are causing the hurt and the pain and the sorrow. And we need to be able to understand that these are our narratives. Most of the times, the narratives which we have created about our past or past events, they're not true. That is how we perceive or how we remember certain events, or how we perceive a certain person spoke to us, or how we perceive a certain event unfolded. Most of the time, they're not even true. This is our perception, and our perception could be very different to the other person's perception of the same event who we feel hurt us in some way or the other. So the first thing we need to do is we need to forgive ourselves. And once we learn to forgive ourselves, forgiveness equals freedom. We are freeing ourselves from the past, of the past baggage. We are freeing ourselves from the guilt, the shame, the sorrow, the sadness, all these stories which are holding us back. And once we forgive ourselves, that is when we are able to step into our newer versions 2.0. And that is the point we are able to craft this new self-image for the mirror of reality, because we are not our versions 1.0. The second we forgive ourselves, we step into version 2.0. This is the version that is going to accompany us into our future. And when we step into the new version, that is the beginning of that journey. So we need to understand that the reason that we hold on to our past and our past narratives is because they are familiar. Holding on is familiar. It is easier than letting go. And the reason it is easier is because it's familiar. That is what we are used to as human beings. That is the societal conditioning that we have had growing up. It is easier for us to hold on to the pain and the sorrow and the guilt and the shame than to let it go, because we don't know what will happen when we let it go. We don't know what the future holds for us, because we are all risk averse as humans. But the power of forgiveness, forgiving others and forgiving ourselves, is what allows us to step into our newer versions. It allows us to craft this new version 2.0 for the mirror of reality, and that indeed shall be reflected in our 3D reality with a delay of delta t. And in this video, I also went over the 4-step method which you need to be able to forgive yourself. So let's quickly go over that as well. The first step that I taught you is that you need to be able to acknowledge those feelings. Whatever feelings that you are experiencing of pain, of sorrow, sadness, guilt, you need to acknowledge them, that you have those feelings. The second step in the process is that you need to let your feelings run their course. Do not resist your feelings, because whatever you resist persists. So you need to be able to let your feelings run their course. The third step in the process is that when you let your feelings run their course, you need to be able to accept those feelings. When you accept them, you are letting them run their course. The third step in the process is that you need to be able to detach yourself from your feelings. And once you detach yourself from the feelings, you are not your feelings anymore. You are separated from the feelings that you are experiencing. You are yourself and you are experiencing the feelings of either shame, guilt, anger, pain. They are your feelings, they are not you. So once you have decided to take a step back, you have detached yourself from the feelings, right? You're not your feelings anymore. You can actually see them dissipate in the background. And the last step in the process is you need to become the observer of those feelings. That is what I mean when I say take a step back and observe the feelings. You have acknowledged your feelings, you have accepted your feelings, you have detached yourself from your feelings. And the fourth and final step is to observe your feelings as the observer of the feelings. That means you are not them, because you are not an angry person and you're not a sad person and you don't feel ashamed on a daily basis. Those are feelings which we all experience from time to time. We need to allow ourselves to experience those feelings because we are not them. And we need to allow them to run their course, because whatever we resist, it persists. So it is essential that we allow ourselves to experience these feelings. We take a step back, detach ourselves from them, and become the observer of the feelings. And that is when we are truly able to forgive ourselves and we are able to let go of the pain of the past and the anger and the sorrow and the shame. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. And may I please request you to please give me a like and give me a thumbs up. And I would be very grateful if you could please subscribe to my channel. And there is information below about the one-on-one consult, which I have set up so we can discuss any issues which you may have. So thank you so much for watching.